not also at the same time because
this is not the right bolt for this.
you want to get the slide running, that way we can see the leak.
Yep. Okay. You know how to turn it on. This gasket looks pretty good except for right here. It's bulging a little bit.
What's that?
It looks like they got the bolts confused. This bolt needs to go underneath, and those button bolts need to come up here to fix this seam that's leaking. So we talked about it earlier. We got to take these button bolts out. We got to take these bolts out here. That'll loosen this up. That'll loosen this section up. But what we're going to do is we're going to hinge it back. So we're going to take these bolts out of the ladder, back of the ladder section, and when we're going to loosen, we're going to loosen these. So that way we can hinge it back. Okay, we've loosened these bolts. We've taken both of them out. We've taken both button bolts out on the top of the bottom flume. This is to repair this seam. We've removed these two bolts here, hex bolts, and I've loosened these here. So what I'm going to do now is hand the camera over to Hayden. Hayden, come around here. The way we hinge it back is Hayden's holding one of these, and we reversed it. So on a simple thing like this, you can actually take this piece off and reverse it and come in and make it a clamp, or you can reverse it and you can make it one that actually pushes away. Pads are on the outside. So to loosen this, in case it has butyl in it. All right, so to get this part off, you put your rump underneath here. We actually had to loosen it up. It took a lot of strength, but it's kind of loosened now. But it hinges up like that. Okay, so we're gonna take our clamp. Hayden, you're gonna help me lift this up. If you can. I can do it. So you come up under here, hinge it back, and you set this up like this. And what this does is gives us room to work. As you can see, the butyl wasn't installed correctly, or there wasn't enough of it. So I'm not saying that the directions weren't good. This is not even, I've never seen this done here. So we're gonna remove all this stuff and we'll get back with you. Sorry, you're gonna come across a lot of butyl. You're gonna have to scrape it off to reapply. This tool is for like putting tires on. You can use a flathead screwdriver. You can use a butter knife.
There we go.
So another trick to getting butyl off is butyl. Butyl likes to stick to itself. So if you can see here, if you get enough of it, you can start rolling it on here and it'll help remove it without having to scrape it all. If you can see that. All right, so Hayden and I have gotten this cleaned up. We got the butyl off, we got the old gasket off. We got pretty much a smooth surface here. Our first step is we're gonna apply this gasket here. So the way I do it is the fat side goes towards the top of the flume. Okay, so this is kind of a teardrop. You can see this is thinner, this is a little thicker. So we want that towards the top of the flume. Now this is important. When we go to apply it, we do not want it right on the edge here because it's gonna expand. And when it expands, it gets above the top seam of the slide, and bathing suits get caught on it. And that's why you see a lot of times these things will get ripped out. So we want to be about a 1/4 inch below the surface of the flume. And we just come around, come around and we place it far enough away to where it can expand and not be above that. And we take our scissors or our knife and we cut. And then we go back over it, make sure it's stuck nice and good. And then the next step we're gonna do is our butyl, which is the most important. Okay, next step is butyl, which is the most important. Two people to help you do this is usually a better thing. You can do it on your own for sure. So come a little bit closer with this. I'm gonna start over here. And what you want is you want it to touch the gasket and the slide underneath here. And you just come around, you make sure and you can get it on there real quick. And then so then what we're going to do, there's two ways I do it. I either loop it back around on itself, or I cut it and I come back to the same spot and do it. What I'm gonna do now is cut it and come back around and do it, just do it over again. We are gonna do 3 layers of this. So you stack them, one on top of the other. And then you make sure, again, it's touching itself and the gasket. This is just where you be careful. Doesn't take long, 5 minutes best. But the third row is the most important. And it helps if you can get underneath and just do it by 2 hands if you got some pants on or something. So we'll cut this again, and we're going to do our third row. We'll come back around here. Just make sure that it's nice and squished first. So now we're going to start our third row. Do the same thing, you stack it. And don't be afraid to squish it down. Make sure it's touching. Both the butyl underneath it, its partner, and the gasket. So keep rolling, Hayden, don't stop. And just come down here and see. What I do now is I get down here and I just work it and then push it in, because we're gonna have to squish this stuff together, right? We're gonna have to get this slide together, and there's a lot of material in here. So I work it before I release the slide down where it's supposed to be, so that I don't have to work as hard to get the bolts in. And we make sure that there's no gaps. So we never have to come see this slide again. The customer's happy forever. So just keep working it. All right. So just a real quick overview. What we did is we loosened the button bolts up here. We loosened the hex bolts up here. We took these out here. And then we loosened these bolts over here to where we can use them for a little bit of a hinge. And then what we did is we put our backside into this. We got the old butyl and the old gasket released. And then we took our clamp and reversed it, and then we can set it on there. That way we can have free hands to work, and nobody has to sit there and hold it up. And that's how you get that all set up. Next step, we get everything replaced, and we'll hinge it back down, and we'll tighten everything up, and we're good to go. All right, next step, me and Hayden, you need a partner for this because you want a good seal. You want to lay this thing down nice and flush. So Hayden got one side, I got this side. We're going to lift up. I'm going to take that out. We're going to come down slow. Make sure we get in there nice and good. We're going to press down, and then from here, I'll take that. You can kind of maybe see the holes aren't going to line up right away. I promise you they will. But we've got a great seal. We're going to get this thing squished down. I'm going to show you guys a couple tricks on how to do that. So another great tip for putting slides together is what we're doing right now is we're going to try to line these holes up back behind here, okay? So it's obviously it was sticking up a little bit. We want to get these bolts in behind here so that we can pull this slide together even more, and then we'll work from there on these holes right here. Now, the tip is, we're all strong guys, but whatever, these things are unbelievably a good help. All they do is they're like Hulk hands, they're like 4 and 5 hands compared to just 2. So that's a really smart thing. Next, we're going to get the bolts ready with anti-seize, which is by far the most important thing. If you seize a bolt or if you seize a nut, it's over. You got to cut it. You're never getting it apart. You're never getting it in. So anti-seize is the key. It's in the first bag of your directions, a little tube. What I do is I buy this stuff down here from the auto parts store. I carry it with me everywhere. Just a little jar. This has lasted me for 2 years because that's all you really need. And we're going to prepare these bolts. So I'll just do it real quick right here with Hayden. So usually get ourselves a towel, like a point where we just know we have the anti-seize. You just touch it a little bit. It doesn't need a lot. Just get them all ready so you know. You don't have to worry about it and forget, because I forgot before in my life too. So now we're all ready. Another trick is you want to get these started, and you don't want to cross thread, because you want to make sure you're just doing it very lightly, just to make sure you got a good grip and it's going smooth. So this one seems to be going really smooth. It's not tightening up on me. It doesn't feel like it's cross threading. A lot of us can feel if it is or not, and you can see that it's going straight in. It's not as an angle. So we're going to tighten this one up like lightly hand tight, because we want to pull this slide together, and then we're going to work on the top button bolts for the upper flume. Now that we've got those hex bolts tightened up a little bit, just hand tight, we can release these. And we're going to check out our holes. So you can see down in there, we're a lot closer than we were before. All this is going to really take is a little bit of muscle. This one is not so much, so we might have to use a little bit of a trick for this one. If you got 3 guys, usually you can get it. It's really easy with 3 guys. With 2 guys, it's a little bit tougher. I'm going to show you a trick to do that. All right, so if you're having trouble getting those last 2 bolts in, this is a good way to do it. You climb up here. I got 2 straps together. You drop one long one in to the bottom, and then I have the 2 ratchets with me, and then Hayden is going to take both of these and connect them around the front. Go ahead, around the front. You need to go on the other side. Take this one with you, and then you're going to give me the camera. So what Hayden's going to do is take those 2 hooks and go. That's going to stay there. That one's going to go in the flume like it is. You're going to go like underneath, right there, and connect those hooks. So right now we got this into this. This goes down through here. He connects them, and then we just tighten. And what that does is it squeezes this slide in, and then you can get that button bolt down there. Yeah, and usually just have a couple towels with you. Yep. Usually you get the inside curve one first.